On December 20th, 1969, around 11 p.m. on Lake Herman Road in Vallejo, California, 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen were shot and killed while sitting in their parked car. By the time police arrived, Betty was found dead on the ground 30 feet away from the car, but David was still alive.
Oh, tiptoe through the window, by the window, that is where
Residents of Vallejo, California were shocked and terrified after these killings, but they didn't know it was just the beginning of the Zodiac. On July 4th, 1969, the Zodiac would attack for a second time at Blue Rock Springs Park, only a few minutes away from the first attacking. The Zodiac approached the car with a flashlight, shooting 22-year-old Darlene Farron and 19-year-old Michael Mujo. Both were alive when police arrived, however, only Mujo would survive. Michael Mujo described the Zodiac killer to police as a young white male, 26 to 30 years old, stocky, 200 pounds or larger, about 5'8", light brown curly hair, and a large face. On August 1st, 1969, the Zodiac killer would send 3 letters to different California newspapers, all that had the words "Please rush to editor" on them. Inside the 3 letters contained detailed notes that had important information about the 2 crimes. On September 27, 1969, at Lake Berryessa in Napa, California, 20-year-old Brian Hartnell and 22-year-old Cecilia Shepard were having a picnic. Cecilia saw a man standing behind a tree. He came over, tied them up, and stabbed them multiple times. The Zodiac was wearing an executioner-style hood over his head. He had the Zodiac symbol on his chest, and he also carried a gun and a knife and a long pre-cut rope. He tied up Cecilia and Brian before stabbing them. The police later found a message written on Brian's car. It contains the words Vallejo, the 3 dates of all the killings, and the words "by knife." Unlike Cecilia Shepard, Brian Hartnell survived the stabbings. He was able to give a description to the police. Brian Hartnell told the police that the man was 5'8" to 6 feet tall, heavy set, 225 to 250 pounds, and had dark brown hair. On October 11th, 1969, just before 10 p.m. in San Francisco, on the intersection of Washington and Cherry, cab driver Paul Stein was shot in the head by his passenger. A teenager and 2 other people in her home heard the gunshots and got a good look at the man as he wiped down the car. The neighbors described the Zodiac as a white male, 25 to 30 years old, 5'8" to 5'9", stocky, reddish-brown crew cut, heavy-rimmed glasses. Unfortunately for the police, a local call center made a grave error by incorrectly identifying the suspect as an African-American male. Because of this error, officers Donald Folk and Eric Zelms witnessed a man walking just blocks away from where the murder happened. They described this man as a white male, 5'10", 170 pounds, about 4 years old, with glasses, reddish hair, and a crew cut. With these 2 descriptions, the police would soon after create a wanted poster that would become infamous in the Zodiac killer case. After the killing of Paul Stein, the Zodiac would send a note to the police that says, "P.S. 2 cops pulled over a goof about 3 minutes after I left the cab. The Zodiac killer would send one final note. In this note, he hinted at killing 37 people, and also taunted the city of San Francisco for never being able to catch him. Let's take a look at the theories behind who is really the Zodiac killer. The first theory is that Earl Van Best Jr. is the Zodiac killer. His name is the perfect amount of characters in the My Name Is cipher. He bears an uncanny resemblance to the sketch and descriptions by police. He is not heavy-set, nor is he 225 to 250 pounds like in the Brian Hartnell description. The second theory comes from Robert Graysmith. This theory is the main premise of the 2007 movie, The Zodiac. On the third Zodiac crime at Lake Berryessa, Arthur Lee Allen told his family he was going to Lake Berryessa. He also came home covered in blood and had a bloody knife in his car. Don Chaney, who was a friend of Arthur Lee Allen, admits that Allen referred to himself as a Zodiac ever before the killer actually did. In Allen's second interview with police, he mentioned that his favorite book is The Most Dangerous Game, which is a book about hunting humans. A book that is referenced by the Zodiac in a letter sent to police earlier. Arthur Lee Allen was always seen wearing a Zodiac brand watch, which had the same symbol that the Zodiac had. When police searched Allen's trailer home, they found small disinfectable animals in a freezer, bloody knives, and sexual devices. In 1974, Allen was convicted of child molestation. He spends 3 years in jail, and suspiciously, no Zodiac letters appeared during this time. In 1987, San Jose inmate Ralph Spinelli speaks to police. Allen admitted to him the murder of Paul Stein. In 1991, Detective George Bawart interviews Michael Mougeot, who is the second Zodiac attack survivor, and he saw Zodiac without a mask on. When shown pictures of Zodiac suspects, Mougeot picked out the man who shot him. It was Arthur Lee Allen. With this new evidence, police were able to search Allen's place of residence. Inside, they found formulas for bombs, constructed bombs, and tapes he made about the Zodiac killer. When police were able to bring Allen to the station, they tested his DNA from the letter sent to police, a fingerprint, and they also tested his handwriting. None of it came back positive. When compared to the wanted Zodiac sketch, Allen does not bear a close resemblance. Lawrence K., or as some people refer to him as Kane, was in a car accident a few years before the Zodiac killings began. One psychologist said that he was losing the ability to control self-gratification. The Zodiac's second victim, Darlene Ferrin, had a sister who said Kane was the man who followed and harassed Darlene during the weeks leading up to the murder. In 1969, the officer who may have seen the Zodiac killer, Don Folk, said he was around 35 to 45 years old. Kane was 45 in 1969. When showed a photo, Donald Folk said Kane was the closest of them as he remembered the killer to be. Kane's house is also located relatively close to where the murders happened. He only lived a few blocks away from Cherry Street. Shortly after Kane moved to Lake Tahoe in 1970, Donna Lass went missing. However, these aren't even the most damning pieces of evidence against Kane. On the night of March 22, 1970, on Highway 132, Kathleen Johnson and her baby were tricked into riding in the Zodiac's car. After entering the car, the Zodiac told Johns that he was going to kill her and throw her baby out after her. As the Zodiac was about to make a turn, Johns jumped out of the car and ran into a nearby field with her baby and escaped. The Zodiac later confirmed this incident in a letter by saying, So now I have the little list starting with the woman plus her baby that I gave an interesting ride. When shown a line of photograph of suspects, Kathleen picked Kane. Kane fits the wanted sketch, but he can also fit the large heavy-set build. All of these men fit the crime, in one way or another. Maybe they teamed up. Perhaps they acted alone. We may never know. But for now, it remains an unsolved event.